So the Glen Ellen Police Project is a really dear project for me. Not only is it close to my hometown of Wheaton, but the specificity of designing to a specific site is something our design team at Dewberry really believes in. So what that basically means is wherever this project ended up is what's going to influence the design. So had this project been added onto the Civic Center, it would have taken on a whole different character of materials, of styles, of roof forms. But when this project was finally chosen for Panfish Park here, our design team, with you and Bill and Chief and all the other village officials, we did, if you recall, a visioning session where we started to look at, what are the visioning, inspiring ideas that are going to lead to the design of this. So the trees here at Panfish Park, all the mature trees, the landscaping, the stormwater basin, the pond system, nature basically on this site was a huge inspiration. So from some of the earliest renderings, if you recall, we looked at more nature-inspired materials, but at the same time, this is a municipal important building that needs to be durable. It needs to last 40 to 50 years. So how do you get the look of wood without maybe the maintenance of restaining real cedar every year or every couple of years? So we looked at a portion of this building to be masonry. So we have a stone look for definitely the front of the building. And then we have cement siding that looks like wood for a big part of the upper portion of the second floor and the back side. So the combination of wood, of stone, there were some influences of kind of the prairie school in terms of very linear lines. We had to go before the village design review committee, and there were some comments and suggestions about, really maybe picking up on some of those lines. So I think the design is unique in that it's very unique and specific to the site. I think it draws on the views, and it really tries to focus views from inside out and outside in. So for example, the two-story lobby at the south end of the building is really hopefully that new iconic image for the village in terms of another one of its very nice municipal projects. It's a two-story lobby that will be glowing as a sort of a beacon or a lantern of public safety in the evening. As you're driving north or southbound on Park, it'll be a really, really impressive view of that lobby. Likewise, the staff entry, we really wanted to focus a lot of attention to that. So the staff coming in from the east side of the building has a very inviting, very open sort of slot, as we've called it, that goes all the way through the building. So it becomes the heart and the hub of the patrol and all the staff in your department. So for entry, for roll call, for breaks, for fitness, all of that is centered around the heart of the building, right on the first floor. Another feature is all of the windows that do have views out towards Panfish Park. So for example, on the first floor in Patrol, we did this dramatic linear ribbon window that reflects the views of the trees by Panfish Park. So when you're outside pulling in, you see that nice panoramic of the trees. When you're inside Patrol or roll call, you get those great views looking back out. As well on the second floor, we have a series of punched windows from the detectives, even from the victim's soft interview room. There's a really calming view. I was just in the construction site the other day looking at that. That gives a great view towards the paths and the pond out there. So I think those views of nature, those details that when you go in the building, you'll see accents of wood that sort of bring in the history of the screening of the trees and the leaves and the branches. So when you come in the lobby, you'll see these really interesting wood slats that sort of become a theme as you walk around the building. Those wood slats kind of define the monumental staircase, which is very interesting. It's a feature on the east wall of the lobby. Those kind of wood slat screens are in the community room, and they're also at the end of the staff hallway. So a lot of really neat features that you won't just find in any other of our police projects because they're really designed because of your park-like setting. Just being a block and a half off Roosevelt, you have that very busy commercial corridor at Roosevelt, and then we have the two-story medical building just north of us, and then just south of us, you start with one-story, story and a half, two-story residential. So that scale is very important. Knowing that this was in a residential neighborhood, we had to make sure that the neighbors were definitely on board with the process. So not only did we have a couple of community engagement sessions at board meetings and board workshops, but we made sure a couple things happened to get that right transition. One was good lighting transition. So one of the things was we wanted to make sure that there was no bleed of night lighting for the parking lights, for the pedestrian scale lights, that those did not bleed south into the next residential. So we want to make sure that was good. Berming, landscaping, vegetation, we wanted to make sure that helped give the buffer, especially to the south. And then likewise, we wanted to try to step the building down a little bit. So even though we have the two-story volume, right there at the entry, I think as you step down with the community room, that kind of steps down in scale a little bit. But I think the lighting, I think the sound and visual barriers are some of the things that really help the community buy into this project and its location.